All right, so today we have Justin Banks with us. He's one of the members of our power team here in Moncton. He's helping us with all of our paint needs, all the paint supplies, and everything else. So this is the man who needs no introduction,
Okay.
the man behind the scene of all our renovations, Justin Banks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so Justin, why don't we spend a little time
Sure.
just talking about your background, what got you into the industry of
Sure.
paint,
Sure. Absolutely.
and what got you to what you're doing today?
Absolutely. Well, I think every little kid grows up thinking they're going to get into paint sales like myself. So, I followed that right. No, I'm just teasing. But no, it was, random opportunity in sales and management that I had opportunity, and it happened to be a paint company that I got started with. So, I grew up in Moncton. I went to university in Halifax, studied. I thought I'd be a teacher one day. Lo and behold, I sell paint, but it all just worked out for the best. So, but yeah, that's basically how it started. I took a job after university with this company, and one thing led to another. I enjoyed what I was doing. I enjoyed, the meeting people, watching businesses grow. Just being able to be like in the field on the ground kind of thing. So, and that's led me to here today. 12 years I've been with Sherwin Williams, so I guess I'm a paint expert now. Yeah, at this point. Yeah.
You definitely are.
Yeah.
So, what do you do on a daily basis for those of
Sure. Yeah. Well, day-to-day basis. My goal, my role with the company basically is just to help, people like yourselves, investors, anyone at all, construction companies, anyone that's involved in the paint industry, to make their lives easier. It's one thing that's easy enough to go ahead and get a gallon of paint, throw some paint on a wall. But we want to provide more than that. We want to provide, answers and resolutions to problems. Just make things simple. Whatever we can take off our customers' plates. That's our goal to do. So that's my day to day. Basically, is what problem do you have and how can I solve it? So
That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember our first interaction with Justin.
I do. We
Yeah.
met at one of our projects, and
Yes.
the conversation was great. We just kept talking, and
Oh,
But it makes sense. I do that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah.
Talker. Sure.
It
Yeah.
was also just an experience that was very memorable, right? Because I never was exposed to the idea of having a sales rep for my painting needs, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I always just used to go to Home Depot or Kent. I'll pick up a bucket of paint, but the person behind the counter, they would just be like, "Okay, what do you need?"
Yeah.
Sure, I'll give you a bucket. But I never knew,
Yeah.
there's a customer service piece to it, and we're so delighted. And ever since we knew you, we never went back. Like you were our only
We're
paint
like, yeah,
guy that
never
we
mind.
deal with.
That's fantastic. Well, that's the goal. That's really what makes the difference between coming to a place like Sherwin Williams versus going to a big box store like a Home Depot or a Kent. There's nothing wrong, obviously, with those spots, but they're not just selling you paint. So their mindset is we've got a lot of products to sell and they're focused on all those things. We're here. It really is one thing. We're here for the paint. And more than that, it's the service. So we understand you could walk into any store and buy a gallon of paint, probably paint your walls, paint your places. But are you going to get those answers that you need if you run into an issue? Are you going to get that free delivery if you need something run over on an evening or something like that? We want to go above and beyond for our customers, and that's the kind of experience you get when you come to a paint store like Sherwin Williams. So
that's one of the things that really kind of made it obvious for us that this is what we want to do and we want to work with you guys. We've saved enormous amount of time just getting the paint delivered directly.
Sure, yeah.
Just having that same color that we're using, and next time we have a project, hey, we have a new project, we need this much paint. This is the address, and then we have everything organized. Even you have a platform where we can see the invoices per project, how much
Absolutely,
we're spending.
right.
So it just makes it very organized, very clear,
Yeah,
very simple, and that just
exactly.
saves us a lot of time and a lot of headache.
That's the goal.
That's
It's
why,
the
yeah.
time. Time is money, and time is important. So if we can save that, then we've done our job, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned you're from Moncton
I am.
locally.
Yes.
So obviously you've been in the industry for, you said, 15 plus years.
Yeah, 12 years in paint.
That's right.
Yeah, and I'm from Moncton, so yeah.
That's right. So how are you making sense of the real estate market so far? That's from Moncton.
Well,
What are you seeing?
from Moncton, like I said, I just turned 40 this year, so I have 40 years experience with Moncton, then Moncton market type deal. I think honestly, from the time I was born to maybe less than that, 3 years ago, I don't think prices of homes changed here. I think you could literally my parents bought a house for this price. They bought it 3 years ago, it was the same price. Then all of a sudden, overnight, boom. And I think it's probably because a lot of the time, let's be honest, sometimes New Brunswick gets looked at as like this fringe province. It's by Nova Scotia, beautiful Nova Scotia, near PEI, fantastic PEI beaches. Then there's New Brunswick, the drive-through province. But a major opportunity. We're still in that same region, right? We have access to all these wonderful, areas with proximity to all these like beaches and, experiences. And I think, such as yourselves, investors from beyond have seen this, and people even in larger cities, in larger provinces have, seen the opportunity to, wow, New Brunswick is a place where maybe we could explore it. It's just, since that idea's popped in, it's been wild here. It's crazy. It's crazy.
So how has it impacted your work and also your personal life, right? Obviously, I assume you're dealing with clients, for
Absolutely.
example, with the 514 area code.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's been interesting because I'd say, like, again, the last 2 years, the number of out of province customers has grown exponentially. Like just new home sales. Our focus before, and we did deal with some property managers and people flipping homes and all these wonderful things, but it was all local. It was all local based, some small changes, some small flips. There was really no push on it. And the influx, just the calls, and if you go on social media, the amount of companies that are focused on this market now. I mean, we see it every day, and it's a hot market. It's still that way, and it's exciting for us, and we love it. We love seeing new faces, right? So,
do you guys like track your numbers in terms of amount of sales, and then do you kind of compare it to how the market has been going?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, we are a sales company basically, right? So it's, we can see year to year how we've done. We have our budgets and we have our expectations set, and to be blatantly honest with you, the last couple of years have just been, through the roof. The success in this part of the country, New Brunswick especially, but Atlantic Canada, Maritimes as a whole, we're leading the country. I think like Halifax, Moncton. Both these cities are two of the fastest growing cities in the country right now. And it's, for years we were always just fringe places, like people would look at us like, well, it'd be nice to move there, but like we can't move there. So, but that's changed. That's definitely changed. And like, I'm feeling the impact you guys obviously are as well. So.
Yeah, we're just chatting about this today, right? We're saying obviously a lot of people are migrating here, and we're talking about entrepreneurs, we're talking about workers who already have a T4 job that they can work remotely.
Absolutely.
But with all that population that we're gaining, a lot of people are here to stay. They're starting out their businesses. They have increasing demands for gyms, for spas, for new ideas here and there. So we're seeing, multiple different areas of the economy just booming, right?
Oh, it's beneficial for everyone, really. I mean, Moncton was, Moncton especially, it was, like I said, it was sort of in a bubble. It sort of felt like it was in a bubble. There was, it was always sort of just up and down, up and down. It was, probably always the number one city in New Brunswick, growing the most, but not much, not much growth. But now you see it, like I can't say it enough. It's just, you'll see the restaurants coming, the hotels, the investments into downtown, all these things, and the spreading and the growth of like just construction to Moncton. It's pushing outwards, and it's really like catching the eye of people across the country. So it's exciting. Yeah.
Well, here's a hard question, Justin. Do you think that's going to be sustainable, or is it just all hype?
No, I think it's sustainable. I mean, like I said, nothing had happened for years. It was static. There wasn't a lot of growth, and I think basically this is just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, yes, it'd be a hot start, like anyone starts hot, but I mean it's a long race, a long run, and I think the engine's there for it. And New Brunswick is there's a lot of opportunities. Just expanding outside of Moncton, like Greater Moncton, like if you include it, like Shediac and some of these places towards Membership out that way, there's so much opportunity that I don't think it'll slow down anytime soon. I think it's just as more people come, the word gets out, and it's just going to keep going.
So it was just about time that it happened, basically.
It was just about time. It was meant to happen now, right? A pandemic. That's what we needed to start. Kick things off,
So I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but we're at a paint shop in front of all the
As
color
you can
chips.
see with all the colors.
So,
And talking about paint,
Absolutely.
if you want to maybe walk us through the types of paint, what kind of products do you provide, and how you can help people that need paint.
Sure. I mean, obviously, it's a paint store, so we have various colors behind us here. Some of our products are listed over here on this wall. Not to get too technical and too specific on them and whatnot, but obviously there are different qualities of paint that apply to different styles of customers as well. I mean, obviously, as an example, if you were renovating your basement just to sell your home, it's been drywall for years, you're probably not going to buy the top end paint on the shelf, right? But that's where we come in. That's where you come into our store, or you contact a rep if you're running a business. And you say, look, this is what I'm doing. What should I use? And we'll direct you to the right type of product. If it's a kid's room you're doing, if you have a baby on the way, you're doing a nursery, well, we have some zero VOC, low odor products that are better for health. If you're doing a kitchen, we have products that are better for washability. And those are the types of things. We don't expect people to come in and know exactly what they want. We want them to ask us, and we want to ask questions to get to the bottom line. So, it's not just the color on the wall. There's a lot more that goes into paint, but we're here to kind of make it easier.
Right.
Yeah.
So obviously you deal with multiple different type of clientele,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
So we are at the retail shop, so there are retail buyers who
Yeah.
come here for their paint needs. But we're primarily dealing with investors, either from
Absolutely.
locally or out of province.
Yeah.
Now, what's that experience looking like for investors who are dealing with,
Yeah.
so buying from here versus buying from, a big box store, right? Like
Right.
Kent or Home Depot. So what's that experience looking like, from a price, from selection,
Sure.
from even the billing and the purchase experience?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to someone that's a professional, like a property management or anything like that, that's where I come in. Basically, if you were buying retail, you'd probably be dealing with the store directly. But this is where I come in to try to find your needs, idea expectations, and then put you in the right type of product. So the major difference is that you basically, if you're going to a big box store for your paint, you're probably not getting that one-on-one rep service where I'm gonna meet you at the project, maybe do a walkthrough with you, identify some problem areas, identify some opportunities for various products. When it does come to something like price, that's where I come in as well. It's when it comes to contractors and professionals like yourselves, price is based on volume or necessity or even type of product, and that's how we get you the right stuff. I mean, I don't expect people that are purchasing multiple properties and whatnot to come in every day and buy the top paint on the shelf because it's the highest price paint. It's not the goal, and it's not really necessary. But, the necessary is to get a quality product that's going to do the job, that's going to hold up for the next person that moves in. But as we probably know, if you're selling a home, people come in to paint again, right? So we want to make sure we get the right product in, and that's where I sort of come in as your go-to. There's a lot of opportunities to discuss, quality of products, colors, all those things come into play. But you get me to help you with that. So
that's right.
Yeah.
So let's talk more about just your experience dealing with the property managers
Sure.
locally, as well as investors,
Yeah.
right? Is there a specific either a type of paint or a paint color that's very, very popular among these rental properties
Yeah.
that you see in Moncton?
Absolutely. So, and it's just, I would suggest it, and it's maybe not the most popular color across Moncton, but I understand the concept. You want to brighten these places up. You want to make sure that things look clean and fresh when you buy a new home. It's the same process, like as if someone was buying a home. My suggestion would be to stick with a brighter type of gray or off-white type of color, not too light. Because obviously, if there's going to be work going on, you want to be able to keep these things looking fresh and clean until a sale or a rental. The other thing I would mention too, when a property manager, is not the best idea to go with the cheapest paint on the market. I mean, it seems simple. Hey, we just want to paint it. It's just paint. But the best idea is to go with something that's going to give you good coverage and decent washability. Right? And that's what I always recommend. Like, we don't want to go to the bottom bill because you might need to wash these walls a little bit before a sale goes up, before whatever the property is designed to do. But you want to have faith in the product that's on the wall. I mean, if you're going to use quality appliances, you're going to use quality finishes. Don't skimp on the paint, right? So it doesn't mean we have to go with the Cadillac of all paints, but let's what is this space going to be used for? Let's put something that's going to hold up over time.
That totally makes sense. Yeah. So what are the exact colors and what are the product names for them, right? So
Yeah.
I know for us, our contractor,
Yeah.
Matt, actually recommended us, designer gray. So
Designer
that's
gray.
Designer gray, very
color.
popular.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
very
for
popular.
my funny story, for my first property ever, I bought it with my mother.
Yeah.
It's a little duplex in Montreal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't a real estate investor.
Right, sure.
I bought it with emotions, and my mom had her emotions invested.
Of course.
In it. Every single room, we're talking there are 3 bedrooms up, 3 bedrooms down, the basement. Every single room, we had a
That's a
different
different
color.
Oh yeah.
Every single one has a different
So every room has a gallon of paint just sitting there waiting for it.
That's
Exactly.
right. Exactly. So there's
It's a choice.
Yeah.
there's just a gallon of paint that's unfinished, right? Sitting in our basement
Yes.
right now, and we don't know what we don't.
Right.
know
What can
to do with it.
what can be done with it? Right after
That's
that.
right.
Right. What can be done?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think the key is not necessarily that it has to be a particular color.
Yeah.
It's just that you maintain sort of that continuity throughout a project. Because I mean, let's be honest. If we're purchasing a property, I mean, obviously cost is a major player in this, right? So if we can avoid excess costs by, let's say, letting our emotions take control of what our plans are, we don't have to have an accent wall necessarily right now. We don't have to have the bedroom one shade lighter than the living room. So that's what I like. For instance, one of the colors I'd recommend is a color called light French gray. Very light, calming kind of gray color, brightens things up a bit, not too dark. Hides handprints or whatnot pretty decently. but still you get that clean, fresh look to it, right? So it's designer gray. I mean, you could go with that every day. I think most of the properties in Moncton are painted with designer gray.
Really?
But it's nice to switch it up a little bit. But I think you're in the right realm when you're doing with something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes what I've seen lately is people are like, maybe it is the emotion or HGTV or some of these shows popping into it. They're going full whites in some of these rental units or some of these properties they're flipping, and it can be dangerous. I mean,
It gets dirty very
it can be
easily.
dirty fast. I mean, if we're not using a quality paint, it's going to mark up. There's a lot of issues you can come into that. So if you can just give it a little bit of something,
Yeah.
it's something that people can picture their own stuff in too. That's the key too. And a light gray color will do that.
Or at least just finishing the entire project and painting last if you're doing white. Because for us, like painting that is not necessarily the last thing. We do it in conjunctions with other things.
Sure.
And then we get a cleaner to clean up.
Absolutely.
If we did all white, I can already imagine all the like dust that's gonna
Right.
stick
If you're
to it, all
doing
the
a full
prints
reno,
and-
you're gonna have the trades
Yeah.
coming through constantly. Even the electrician might have to come back in at the end. We all know they're not too concerned about the next trade, the next thing, right? So they're doing their job and they're not concerned about what the painter might have to do. But that's where we try to limit those issues, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, for our properties and also most of our investors that we work with, they like to use what's called a BRRRR strategy, right?
Yep.
So they're looking for distressed properties they can add
Yep.
value to. So one thing that we do to really improve the curb appeal, as they call it, or the attractiveness to attract tenants,
Sure.
we'll either add an accent wall where we might
Yep.
paint the exterior door to a fun, bright color.
Right.
That's one strategy we started to
We've
do
tried
as well.
yellow, we've tried blue.
That's
It's
right.
like
No, absolutely. I mean, you
poppy
want to get those
colors.
eyes, right? You want to get those
Yeah.
eyes. It's something to grab attention, right?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that paint can do that way. It's probably the cheapest renovation that you can do is add color or add some paint to freshen something up. I mean, even when it comes to properties, a lot of properties in Moncton, for instance, are vinyl siding. And especially some of these distressed ones have some nasty colored vinyl siding, some like mint greens. And now we sell products that you can paint vinyl siding. So, and honestly, you would never know that it's been painted. You would think that it was re-sided. It'll bring life back. There's another good way of upgrading an exterior without having to go ahead and fully re-side. So
That's right.
paint can do some pretty magical things if you consider it at a very affordable cost. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also believe you guys have very investor-friendly services as well. For example, you guys have a paint color matching service, right?
We do. We have a couple options with that. So we have a mobile match that I can go on site. I've done it many times. I think I've done it with you guys probably, and can get the closest Sherwin Williams color with my portable matcher, and that's pretty good if we're doing a full recoat of a place. If we're trying to, let's say the walls are in really good shape, or you want to try to get away with a one coat coverage, it's possible. If we can get a shape the size of a loonie, basically, we can bring that to our store, match it up with a custom formula, and pretty much have a custom color designed right for that unit. So if it was a property on Main Street, 5 Main Street, for example, we could call it 5 Main Street walls. It's always in the system. That color will be exactly what's on those walls currently. So you might be able to get away with less paint.
It's so cool if you had like a board with the addresses and be like, this is 5 Main Street color.
Let's just put it all together with
Exactly.
those little like red lines like in the CSI or something
There
like
we
that.
go.
Yeah.
Exactly. I love that. Do you have any, as a professional that's been doing this for that long,
Sure.
do you have any money saving tips for either homeowners or investors who are, picking up all these properties? Like, do you have any money saving tips?
I would say, like take a step back and see where, on the paint side anyway, where you can save by maybe getting a color match to maybe one coat of wall. The other thing I would recommend, and I recommend this for not just property investors or people in general, if you're finding an older home, for instance, and a lot of these places are probably older homes or have maybe gone through some DIY renos and they're not exactly in perfect shape inside, going with a lower sheen on your walls too will hide imperfections. And a lot of rental, it doesn't mean you're giving up on durability or anything like that, but you're able to, some of these older homes are done with plaster or have wavy walls, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just the way things were built. But if we go with a lower sheen on those walls, it'll give it the effect of a smoother look. And a lot of people use it in their own home too. They can't afford to, let's say, skim coat or replace a wall, but a lower sheen will give you the idea that it's straight. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Didn't
gonna
know
remember
that.
that. Very
I don't
nice.
remember that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Absolutely,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about how you could help, either home buyers or out of province investors with their properties.
Absolutely.
So what does that process look like?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically with Sherwin Williams, and when you're dealing with me directly, I like to sit down with all my customers when I first meet you, basically, and get an idea of what your expectations are what your business looks like, what your goals are, and that way I can align like what we can do with your needs. There's a lot of bells and whistles, some great resources that Sherwin Williams has. Doesn't mean it's great for you. So if I can get that read, I have a better idea. So whether it's putting you in contact with local contractors. I mean, obviously we're a paint store. We deal with a lot of painters, a lot of renovation companies. So we have those contacts. We know who's capable of what. So there's that connectivity we can put together. Also, things like you mentioned earlier, like free delivery, and sort of maintaining like lost time, so that if your contractors are working on multiple properties, we can make sure paint is there first thing in the morning, paint is there in the afternoon, or if there's a problem, basically, is another major issue where I come in. If you have your painters there, you can't be there. I don't know, there's a weird stain on the wall, or what can we paint this? It's a weird substance on this. Can this floor be painted? I'm able to get down there, take a look at it, use the resources that Sherwin Williams has as well, such as our tech lines, and come up with a system that'll save you money, save you time, and hopefully get the job done. So.
Awesome. So you just basically cater to their needs.
I cater to your needs.
Yeah,
I have one phone. I have one. That's it. I'm available almost 24/7.
He is literally
He is literally
24/7.
I think we're just kind of going to transition to the last part of our interview,
Sure.
which we call the fun part.
Oh yeah, the fun part.
2 questions. So we have a lot of us that are outside the province and don't necessarily know Moncton or New Brunswick
Yes.
itself. So if you had to plan out a full day for them, start to beginning to the end of the day, what would you make them do? What are the go-to places that you would take them to?
What would I take them to? So if they're coming to Moncton, I would hope it's summer. It's Canada, so it's always better to go anywhere in summer, unless it's like BC or something.
Thinking middle of February.
Yeah, middle of February. We'll take you to a hotel. We'll just get a few drinks and we'll just wait it out. No, I mean, I would start off with maybe take a drive to Shediac. You gotta go to the water. You gotta get some seafood. You gotta go to the water. You gotta enjoy some of the outdoor stuff. I mean, we're surrounded by so much nature. It's so much open land around here. So Moncton is the hub city. Right, so everything's within an hour and a half. Anything major in the province, you can get to pretty quick. Fundy Park would be something I would recommend people get to. Cape and Rage. There's so much downtown now in Moncton. New restaurants have grown, like Brundekud. A few of these restaurants are just phenomenal, and I attribute a lot to that, to the influx of people, to the influx of out of province people that are driving the need for these places. And I would say just take it all in, but you gotta go to the beach. You gotta get some seafood, go to the beach, some fried clams. You gotta get some fried clams.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally agree.
That sounds great.
So the last question being,
Okay.
if you had to describe Moncton in 3 words only, what would those 3 words be?
3 words from Moncton.
Yeah.
There's so many things that come to mind.
And it cannot be Sherwin.
Yeah, Sherwin Williams paints. That's it. No, I mean, I don't know. I would say it's the true, like I mentioned it before, but it is the hub city. I'd say it's the true hub city of the Maritimes, right? So the true hub city, that's 3, right? Yeah, 3. It really is. I mean, it's we're always sort of the little brother to, let's say, Halifax, because everyone kind of knows Halifax, but we've got a lot to offer in New Brunswick. And as you guys know, it's a market that's kind of been waiting for this, and it's exciting to see the growth and what it can do to the area and the type of businesses it can bring in. So it's the hub. I think people need to get here.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. Honestly,
Absolutely.
it's very informational. So where can people reach you?
They can reach you right here at Sherwin. I never leave. But no, basically, I can be reached by calling your local Sherwin store here in Moncton. They can provide you with my contact information. I'm available, like I mentioned to you guys, pretty much all the time. So it's not hard to find me. I'm looking for you too. So
Also put your information in the description and kind of ways to reach out to your phone number and everything.
Absolutely.
So people can directly call you.
yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to talking to anyone that wants to talk to me with me too.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much for your time.
No,
Really
thanks a lot,
appreciate
guys.
it.